we didn't really address this on the last episode because I I don't know, we didn't really feel like it was that necessary to acknowledge it, but so many people have brought it to our attention that we got to say something. So, maybe the best way to say it is if you're one of those people saying that OU only had 75,000 people at their spring game because there's nothing else to do in Oklahoma, you're an idiot. I I don't know what else to say because Ted, do people think it's just Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium and then like the rest of the state is just flat barren wasteland around it? Is that what like I feel like that's the mental maybe there's some horses sprinkled in there somewhere. There's maybe a covered wagon or two rolling across this barren wasteland. It's like do they just think we have no other options for entertainment or that we just don't have anything else that we could do around here?
That's yes. The answer to that, quite simply, is yes. That's what people think. I guess that's what people think, especially if you live on the coast somewhere and feel like nowhere else in the country is worth your time. And it's funny, you know, you can pretty much do the exact same things here that you can anywhere else, except for obviously the beach. All right, we don't have the beach, but what we do have is tons of awesome lakes that people go to like crazy. Everything else, yeah, you can go hiking, you can go fishing, you can go camping, you can go to amusement park, you can go to the movies, you can go shopping, you can go hang out at some of the great parks in the area. I don't know. I can go on forever. Those people are total morons, and there's no reason to even continue the conversation with them. What they don't, I don't think they understand the hilarious self own that it is whenever you try to convince yourself that, oh, well, yeah, we had our spring game, but there's so many other things to do here. Instead of that, that's why no one was there. Yeah, that's why no one wants to go to that school because there's no history, there's no interaction with the fan base. There's like the abundance of people that have come together around Oklahoma football is awesome. That's not happening out there. So quit trying to justify it by saying there's nothing else to do. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I can leave my house and be at the stadium in approximately 30 minutes. And there's a lot of stuff to do where I live. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot of stuff to do where you live, and you live much closer to the stadium than I do. Like, I I think this is just people trying to make themselves feel better about their program, right?
Yeah.
And you look at it, it's like, oh, you only had that because there's nothing else to do. It's like they know that's not true. They're just making excuses to make themselves feel better. And that's fine. I'm fine with people continuing. Now, I get mad when people talk down on Oklahoma, like as a state. I won't lie, I do. It upsets me. But there's also part of me that's like, I'll let them keep thinking that. Man, we know everything there is to do in this state within an hour of Norman. We know how nice it is to live here, like the quality of life you get living here. We know how nice people are here and respectful, and how people around here don't think that they're better than everyone else. So I also I also get the sense that people think that OU fans can only live in Oklahoma, like that every fan that came to the spring game like lives in Oklahoma City or Tulsa or Edmond. That there happen to be some people that live in Dallas and came to the spring game. They
I,
left their big fancy city to
yeah.
come to the spring game and support the program because football matters here.
I talked to people that came from New Jersey to go to the spring game. I talked to people that came from Nebraska. I talked to people that came from Iowa. I talked to people that came from Arkansas. I talked to people that came from Texas, and I talked to people that came from New Mexico. That was within about 10 minutes during a pregame show at Balfour on Campus Corner. So, yeah, there's people coming from all over the place. But just for a fun little exercise, let's just concede the point and let's say, you're right. There's nothing to do in Oklahoma. Thank God we have a spring game because we have nothing else to do with our time.
What else would we do on a
Right.
Saturday without the spring game?
Let's concede that point. The only thing there is to do in Oklahoma is football. That's it. There's nothing else to do. Would you rather go play at a place where what you do can't get anyone's attention because there's so much to do? Or would you rather go to a place where everyone is focused on everything you do and the support because there's nothing else to do is overwhelming? I think I'd rather go to the place where the support is overwhelming because there's not shit else for anyone to do but hang around and watch and talk about and celebrate football. That's what I'd pick.
Once again, I think some of the people that think they're dunking on Oklahoma as a whole don't realize that they're telling on themselves.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. It's the most hilarious cell phone I think I've ever seen in my life.
It's just like, oh, we've got so much to do. No. It's okay. You can just admit you don't care the way that we care. Especially now, like the fan base is fired up. And I know the Baker Mayfield thing that brought a lot of people to it. But you're right, man, because if you're a recruit now, things have changed, certainly, right? With NIL and how that is affecting where players are going. But players want to go play at places where people are crazy about football. The NIL stuff factors into that, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at what football means here. There's going to be a lot of guys that are going to want to be a part of that. And that's why, this notion that, when OU goes to the SEC, like the wheels are just going to fall off, like recruits aren't going to come to Oklahoma. It's like, no. That's only going to ramp up the investment and how people care around here. Is it going to be harder? Absolutely. But I don't think people understand how kids think. And I know that kids have changed, right? And I know I'm getting old, but they want to go play somewhere where football means something. Yep. They do. Like, they want to play in front of a full stadium. They don't want to play in front of, 35,000 people in a stadium or 50,000. They want this thing to be packed. And when you come play at Oklahoma, it's how it is every Saturday. And everyone knows who you are. That can be good sometimes. That can be, it can be a little annoying sometimes, right? But you're a big deal if you come play at Oklahoma. And I know some guys, oh, well, I get to kind of blend in Los Angeles or, wherever, Houston, wherever. But from what I can tell,
say that no one wants to blend in. Right?
Yeah, no one.
You may want to blend in after you've been a superstar somewhere and are kind of tired of that life. But when you're coming out of high school and you've got the stars in your eyes, no one wants to blend in.
Yeah, you want to feel like a big deal. It's only natural for these young kids. Like it's just how humanity works. Like you want to feel appreciated and like you're a big deal and feel that love from the fan base. And for people to think that them saying, oh, there's nothing else to do in Oklahoma, but for those fans to go support their team, it's like, yeah. It's not that there's nothing else to do. It's that, where is it on your priority list? Right. And you compare it and there's great fan bases out there. It's like, if you've ever been to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, right, it's not some booming metropolis either. and they love football. I mean,
Yep.
you can say that College Station, like you can say that about a lot of places, but it all comes down to where is the college team you support on your priority list. And here, it's really, really high on the priority list. And listen, going to the beach may be higher on someone else's priority list than college football. And that's their choice. But Ted, we don't have a beach, so that's not a problem here.
Not a problem. And the last real point that I have on it, stop acting like it's a spring game thing. Okay? It's not a spring game thing. Was it the punter that transferred to Ohio State that said, and I think Ohio State had would they have 55,000 or something like that for their spring game? He said, that's the biggest crowd I've ever played in front of ever. That was bigger than any crowd we ever had at USC. And it was a spring game. So he was talking about how impressive that is. So don't try and slide this in on us and act like, oh, this is just a spring game thing. No. That's not how it is. We saw the empty stadium when Lincoln had his his introduction. We saw that no one has gathered for any of that stuff. We know. Listen, I get it. I understand. It's not a big deal. You got movie stars and musicians and all kind of famous people out there. You got beaches. You've got, I get it. Football's not that big of a deal. It's okay. Don't try and fake it to us like football's a big deal. You're just kind of, everyone's just waiting for something real. No, that's not the case. We'll see. We'll see whenever you open up the season. It's going to be an empty stadium all year.
I just think that some people think that they're owning us when they are like, look at how much football means to these people. No,
What a bunch of losers.
That's us. That's us. That's our thing.
Here's the other thing. Like, Lakers not in the playoffs. Clippers not in the playoffs. The Kings didn't have anything going on. So there's no excuse. There's no excuse.
It was a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Listen, man, there were severe thunderstorms in the forecast for OU spring game, and still that many people showed up. So I don't want to hear the weather excuse.
Yeah, it was the same. The weather, it was the same as it is 350 other days of the year in LA. Okay. Sunny, clear, 75 degrees. It's the same thing year round.